I'm testing out this equipment, not on any topic at this moment. It's just sad that it went out twice, and that was on a the weather here is pretty bad, and so I'm having some repercussions behind it. Hello again. Listen, I'm having some problems with the weather here, and we just got it keep popping up on the television saying floods, flooding, and that sort of thing. So that's what we're dealing with right here. And thank you for the thumbs up. Um, I am thinking about getting some more plants started, even though it's very cold here. Like I said, last night was 26 degrees, and okay, thank you. Ah, and it was 26 degrees last night, and I just want to get started. As much as I can grow uh, indoors, I'm going to do that. And let's see, January very soon, midway part, maybe towards the end of January, I can start putting seeds again in the starter area of my home where I get everything started at. I did purchase a heater today for my garden. I'm testing it out right here, and but I'm testing it out to see how much it will actually put out. And this heater here is safe because I like it because if it gets knocked over, it cuts off. That's a safety feature. There's a very sensitive knob here that cuts it down. I mean, where it's very sensitive to the temperature in the room. So I can actually, with the temperature gauge in the room, I could look at, um, if it's 70 or 72 or 80, and I could actually calibrate that so easy with this heater. So the heater is acting is performing. I'm happy about that. Um, and it'll cut on and off. It's just a beautiful one. And believe it or not, I got it at Walmart. It was $20, and it puts out a lot of heat, a lot of heat. So, and that's on low. It puts out an awful lot of heat. So I like this. This is going to work. Um, the area where I grow at has a thermometer in it where it tells the constant temperature of the room. Um, I have my lights set up. I got those all set up. I got the area cleaned and pretty much set. Oh, okay, okay. Thank you. I didn't know. I didn't know. I'm just testing it out to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do. The other heaters that I used to have, I didn't like those very much because um, if you knock them over, they just keep running, and I don't like that. So that is something that I would always alarm me when I would have them. But now this right here puts out an awful lot of heat. It's a little noisy, but I don't think the plants are mine. I don't think they're mine at all. Um, yeah, I mean they would just keep running, and they could run for hours while they're laying face down on the carpet. So I don't like that. This one here cuts off. As soon as it's too far back, it cuts off. So if the dog knocks it over or the cat knocks it over, it goes off on its own. I don't like the noise it makes, but the plants won't mind. Spinach is going to be the first thing going in. Then it's going to be the second thing is going to be some Swiss chard. And once I get those started, I just want to be able to have a steady green diet. I go to the store, I see that they have shelves full of spinach. They still don't have the romaine or the loose lettuce or the iceberg lettuce. on the shelf where I shop at because of the problem that they have with them, and consumer confidence hasn't come up yet to the point where people actually want to take chances and buy that stuff. Um, but right now, oh, okay. I just love your channel because the information, and believe me when I tell you that people listen to the information you put out, and it's rock solid. I've listened to it a number of times, and it's rock solid. It adds up. It makes sense. It it's the kind of information that you can bank on. So I'm just ready to get started. It's basically two tools that I'm using here, which is the and also the back and forward hoe to be able to just pull the root. And I've been doing a lot of research on uh, some some ways to understand and work with the soil a little better. I mean, the most important thing, the most important thing is that soil. Very important. And I spend a lot of time thinking about it. When I look at people's videos, I actually find myself looking at the soil. They'll be showing a plant or a potato, but I'm actually looking at their soil. Whether it's yeah, soil is number one. Whether it's a uh, sandy soil, clay soil, loamy soil, I like looking at the soil. There is a scientist. I can't call his name right now. He's from the land of the rising sun. He's passed on, long passed on. But they said that he was one of the first uh, engineers of the fact that soils and the natural way of doing things. Um, he allowed chop and drop. He allowed uh, his birds to roam free, and they would fertilize the soil. And he had a beautiful farm, but he was so in touch with nature. Oh, hello. He was so in touch with nature that he would always get a peace of mind, and always knew that the most important thing about farming was the soil. I mean, think about it. Your primary job as a farmer or gardener is to grow soil, and we were taught. A lot of us were taught it was to grow plants, but the plants will take care of themselves if you get the soil right. Yeah, yeah. Now I see you make those drinks when you're there, and I'll be thinking to myself, that's got to be great. That is absolutely got to be great to be making um, drinks that are so full of nutrients, very nutrient dense foods. And I see people, they say, well, I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm going to buy some blackberries or I'm going to buy some raspberries. And a person like myself that's been doing this for a little while now, I know that it's more important what goes in those vegetables. If you're not giving them the proper nutrients, the vegetables, excuse me, the soil, and therefore you're not going to have nutrient dense vegetables or fruits. You're not going to have it. Trash in, trash out. Um, I mean, it's just a fact. Absolutely, absolutely. The soil, grow the soil. Um, Make the soil healthy again, and it will take care of your plants. Your plants won't be getting eaten up because they'll be strong enough to take care of themselves. Plants won't seek them out as much because the plants won't be putting out an urgent signal that they're dying. I mean, it's a wonderful thing to go out. You've already done it, but to go out on your property, and some people see me out there eating berries or pulling spinach right from the ground. And I've had friends say, "You gonna wash that off?" I said, "It's okay, it's all right." Going out on the property, eating grapes right off of the vine, um, and they've never been anywhere where they've seen food grow. So to them, it's odd to eat right off the trees or plants. Um, just amazed by this is that so many people into this garden today. It used to be for city people. It used to be a hobby. Now I think more people are growing mainly so that they can eat better foods and live longer. And they're teaching their children to uh, to grow their own foods. Inner city children are not learning that. They're not learning that at all for the most part. I have spent yes to be healthy. You're either going to spend your time getting healthy in your garden, or you're going to spend your money at the doctor's office. One of the two. They have foods that will help you manage pain, help you to remove garbage and trash from your body. I mean, it's just so much you can grow out. You grow out in the yard, and I mean, people tell me that I eat a lot of garlic. Well, it's true. um, I love it. Okay, I spend as much time as I can talking to any and everyone I can to teach them how to garden or teach them what I know. I spend the time, and I don't mind talking about it because I really love this. This is a passion that I've had for the last uh, I would have to say 45 years because when I first got hooked, yeah, when I first got hooked was my dad. He for some reason he had these beans in his hand that were in a plastic bag in the cupboard, and he gave me roughly 10 of them. He said, "Here, go put those in the ground." And I said, "For what?" And he said, "Just put them in the ground. Put them in the ground." And I said, "What?" No. And so I put them in the ground. My brother put his in the ground, and my sister. And once they started growing, I became addicted. I became addicted. I couldn't believe that. I said, "Wait a minute, these little white beans we put in the ground are now green, and they're coming up, and they're growing these long vines." And I didn't understand how all this was coming from that little bean. And my father, being an ex-farmer, he was explaining it to me, quite grasp it. And then next thing you know, my brother and sister moved out of it, and I kept getting deeper in it. And the main focus when I got my first property was that I was going to grow something. It's amazing. I looked at the backyard before I looked inside the house and told the guy, "I'll take it." And he said, "But you haven't been inside." He said, "You haven't been inside yet." I said, "Oh, yes, right, that's right." And so I go inside, look around, and had the number of rooms. It was in pretty decent shape. And I decided, okay, I'll take it. But it's amazing. The yard was grown in. Um, I cut down all the trees. I wish I'd known what I know now when I cut all those trees down, filled up 2 dumpsters. If I knew what I knew now, I would have cut those things up and laid them out and allowed them to go right back into the ground. That's what I would have did. That's what I would have did if I would have known better, but I did not know. I had 2 trees removed from my property years ago, and the tree uh, people cut up all this wood and said to me, "Oh, you don't want this wood. This is from a tree that's it's not very good to use in your garden. It's not a." And I didn't know. Nowadays, I know. I would have said, "No, no, no. You cut up the tree, dump it onto my property. I don't want you to take what's mine away from here. This is my wood, and I'm paying you for this job. Could you please just dump it where I asked you to dump it at?" You know. And the great thing about it, absolutely. I mean, because those were 2 big trees. Didn't quite fill the truck up, but it was, and he should have just gave it to me. But he talked me out of it. Now I know better. I know much better now that is just too much. Uh, all he did was haul away some of my soil. Is what he did. Those trees were comprised of my soil, and all he did was haul it away. So I see that. Oh, okay. I didn't have any pine trees. I just had the standard orchards, palm trees. Awesome. Absolutely. And they will give the wood to you. They'll give it to you because it costs them money to dump it. And if you when you catch them, there is a company that at one time I set up, had an understanding with them. It's called Arbor. It was called Arbor Tree something, and I don't have their number anymore because when my hard drive went down, I had their number, and they called me one day and say, "We got a load. We're working in the area today. Would you like it?" And I said no because I didn't know that my neighbor at the time would not. I mean, would let me the truck drive around to the back of the property and drop it. Because if we dropped it there, it would be in the perfect spot. I wouldn't have to move it for years. I wouldn't have to move it. I would just it would be in the perfect spot. Now that I know that my neighbor would allow me to come onto his property and the truck could just dump it onto mine from his property, I wouldn't have to move it. But I did not want to move another 10,000 pounds of wood chips by myself with a wagon. I did that one time. It took 3 weeks, and I still feel like you got to be in really great shape to do that because everything on me hurt. Everything, I couldn't believe it. Everything, every part of my body hurt, and I kept at it every day, 2 and 3 hours a day for 3 weeks, and that's what I call dedication. I was I had it 9 and 12 inches deep in some throughout the property, and it was a lot of hard work. I'm just reflecting on that. It was a lot of hard work. Oh, you remember that? Yeah, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Um, the effects of that wood are still present in my yard. It turned all of that soil a tan colored clay, turned it all black. and it's looming. I mean, incredible. And it's still, the effects are still there. And all I had to do to keep that up was to start chopping and dropping my weeds. And I'm telling you, every little bit helps. I go through there with the tractor, cut the weeds down, the lawnmower to the front of the yard, cut the grass. I use no chemicals on my grass. I use no artificial fertilizers for my grass. I don't use any of that. Nothing granulated, none of that stuff. And I bring it to the back of the yard and I sprinkle the grass clippings throughout my garden. I put it around plants as mulch. It also fertilizes and it keeps it grounded. I mean, it's so much you can do. When you cut branches off of trees, cut those branches up 6 and 12 inches pieces and put them behind your blueberry plants. It'll keep that ground and put them around them in front of it, behind it. It'll keep that grass, I mean, excuse me, I'll keep that ground there because you have that wood back there. Thank you. I'm glad it's, well, wait a minute. Yeah, but I hope it don't start that buffering thing again. I hope not because I did what I know, and I know the weather's bad here, but I thought I had a solid connection. Oh, thank you. Oh, getting a little buffering here. Oh, they say no buffering, no buffering here. Food forests must have food forests must have really good service because he's not experiencing any problems right now at the moment. I love it. I love being able to talk to fellow gardeners. This is fun. This is fun. Being able to get this information out. And if you're like I am, I am sitting at work, and I was sitting there daydreaming about soil. Good here. Hmm. Oh, okay, okay. But everything. I mean, everything was good. I was thinking about soil. I know what I'm gonna do this year. I'm planning everything out. But each year that you do a garden, it will show you something different. Oh, okay, it's okay now. Great, great. It will show you something every year. No year is the same, and no matter what you do and you plan, you make the smartest decision. You plan as much as you can so that you can add to the ground to make sure you have enough tomato plants, enough cucumber plants, you have enough of eggplants, whatever you're planting, make sure you have enough of it. So that way it's growing. And if you need to do anything to it, like add another plant, if one die or a cat scratch it out of the ground, um, Mr. Food Forest Permaculture, we were talking one evening on your page. If cats scratch and leave their feces in your garden all winter long, is that something to be concerned about? Now, I know that we eat food that's grown with rabbit and cow feces. Sounds really rough when you put it that way, but that's what it is. And in fact, when I see the cat feces in the yard, I look and say, "Oh my God!" I say, "Is this something? How am I going to have to deal with this?" So I did a little research, and main thing it kept talking about, as long as the feces would break down and went through this breakdown process, fresh cat droppings would be an issue. Oh, okay, okay, all right, microbes do the work. Oh, okay, then this I love what it's a good. You got 75 pounds. I had to keep looking at that over and over again. 75 pounds of carrots. Now, this is a good person to ask, what did you do to your soil to get those kinds of results? What did you do step by step? Did you fertilize? Did you not fertilize? Did you use animal manure? Did you use synthetic fertilizer? The combination of synthetic fertilizer. I think my issue is squirrels. Squirrels in the apartment and in the porch. And see squirrels walking along pedestrian wires. And if digging out. I never had any problems maybe with squirrels. I'm quite sure they're doing stuff to my garden out there, but they haven't shown me that they're doing anything. When I come outside, I don't see them. Even black. I don't know. Okay, okay. There was something I was looking at. Um, it was a video last night about uh certain scents, aromas, if you will keep cats away from your property, and it doesn't hurt them. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking it was wood ash, mixed in water, shook up, or something to that effect. Or it might have been Vicks Vapor Rub or something. Okay, okay, I got you there. Let's see. You use Miracle Grow compost and you till all the conventional ways. Well, if it works for you, if it works for you. Let's see. Now, you say you added Miracle Grow. How often? Uh, was it once a week? Was it once every 2 weeks? Because a lot of people buy the Miracle Grow. There's a gentleman down the street from me. He showed me some tomatoes that were crazy big, and I asked him what he used. He said Miracle Grow. Um, and I've had experience maybe 17 years ago. and for myself, and when I tasted the tomatoes, I could taste a metallic taste. Um, but he did have some pretty tomatoes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They do have a very strong urine smell. Cats do. In a litter box or outside, I don't know. It's just crazy what cats do. Oh, okay, well, it sounds like you did good. You found the product on sale, Miracle Grow that is, and you used it, and you basically I think be better. Well, let me just say this: Miracle Grow is like plants on steroids, instead. But the end result of using a lot of man-made chemicals is that it damages the soil over time. It will each year you'll get less and less and less and less and less, and that's just the process. Before you realize anything's wrong, it'll just keep making the soil worse and worse until you eventually. I've been down this road. I've done it. Um, but I wish everyone, uh, much success, much success. And it is just if you're in the garden and your soil is doing well, always remember each year to rotate. Try not to plant the same family of plants in the same spot. Loosen your soil. If your soil is wet, do not walk on it a great deal. Don't walk on it at all if you don't have to. Do not start digging and taking a shovel out there and turning soil over because all you're doing is opening up the ground to more weeds. If you're not the kind of person like I am, I use my weeds, I use my grass, and I use them as fertilizer. But if that's not you, you might not want to be going over there turning over soil because you can turn over soil that's been down there. I mean, seeds have been down there 20 years. And once they get the light, they'll start growing. Once they get that sunlight, they'll start growing. So I love it. I love it when I'm out there and and I see everything growing. Now this year, more rose bushes um, because I want to let the bees have as much food as they need to eat on my property. Everything they're eating now is low on the ground. I see them on the ground, and I got to be careful not to step on them because I mean I don't kill my bees. Whenever the bees are around, they have full run of my yard. They have full run. Absolutely, it builds it in layers. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. You said it right there. I could not have said it better. It soil is in layers, and when those roots penetrate down into their soil and pull all those rich minerals up and store it in its stems and in its leaves and in its fruit, and you get the benefit of that. Without plants, we'd be dead, all of us. Absolutely. 2 years ago. Um, seed packs from 2 years ago, I don't see them as being no big problem. Most of the time, they will grow. Well, I mean, food forest permaculture would know about that. He is an expert on storing seeds and how to store them properly, and um, uh, you know, uh, great big collection. So you would know more about that than a lot of people. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, the the greatest thing I thought I discovered on my property that we good for years. Yeah, absolutely. Seeds are good for years. And I found out that I was out of tomato seeds when I went and checked my seeds for this year because I won't have to buy anything this year as far as the seeds go because when I looked, I said, okay, I'm going to do basil. I must have basil. Tomatoes, I must have. Cucumbers, I must have. Squashes, I must have. And remember when them squashes get about this big, go ahead and take them. Don't let them get this big and all that because nice and tender when they're 6, 8 inches long. When they get like this, all that, you got a different piece of fruit there. Um, now the tomatoes that I was talking about earlier is allow them to concentrate their flavors. Um, you water them and allow that water to to cease before you pick them. So if you're gonna water them Friday, okay, well I need to pick these. You pick them Monday. You pick them Tuesday, so that it's not full of water. It's just full of more concentrated juices, much more sweet or uh, juicy tomato as opposed to tasting like it's been watered down. Grapes. Remember, if you got the grape vines growing, you gotta water. You gotta feed them too. A lot of people don't feed their grapevines. They just let them do their own deal. And of course, they could grow like that. But if you want to get more out of the harvest that year, you might want to get up there and do the proper pruning, and also make sure you do the proper um, uh, watering and make sure that it gets its proper amount of liquid feed, and that liquid feed could be homemade fertilizer. Also, you could use a compost. I do a whole lot of compost around the plants, and what I do is I put logs that I cut up and I put them around my grapevine root base and just allow them to feed for years. Yeah, I mean wood. That's what I use, and you should see the vines. The vines just are beautiful vines, thick, strong. That's what you want to do. And the most important thing about grapevines is if you prune them back correctly, um, you'll get bigger and tastier grapes. But if you got a whole lot of grapes and all of them are tiny, and that's it depends on what your preference is. I like bigger grapes. Has anyone ever grown or tasted a flame grape? If so, what is your take on that particular grape? But I've been thinking a lot about the flame grape, the seedless flame grape lately. I've been thinking a lot about it. Is it all they say it is? They have a plum, the Stanley's plum tree, and that Stanley plum. is a plum that is supposed to be one of gardeners' favorites. Well, good people, thank you very much for your time. I am going to go fix me a glass, or excuse me, a thermos of hot green tea. I've been thinking about it all day. And I got it from work and I came right to the computer and I wanted to get in touch with all my good gardening friends out there. I wanted to get in touch with all of you. This is absolutely great. All these people I got on here are professional gardeners. They're all over this. But we got to bring as many pollinators in our yard as we can because the numbers are low everywhere. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I don't get a lot of visitors, but I appreciate the ones that I do get. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you.